Today I have a roundup of knitting patterns that are perfect for the spring season. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Knee Knits. My name is Amy and here I love to talk about all things knitting, and today's video is a pattern roundup of spring knitting patterns. It's that time of the year where if you're in the northern hemisphere, spring seems to be around the corner. For me, I'm right outside of Boston in Massachusetts, and spring still seems a little bit far away for us, but that can't stop me from looking ahead and getting really excited about some warmer, thinner, lighter weight knits for the next season. I've rounded up a handful of knitting patterns falling into the categories of lightweight sweaters and cardigans, t-shirts, and a few accessories as well. Before we jump into the patterns, I want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Book of the Month. As someone who loves to read, I love Book of the Month, whose mission is to bring the best new fiction forward. Similar to the decision fatigue that can happen when sifting through the thousands of beautiful knitting patterns that are out there, it can be hard to select your next read, and I love how Book of the Month makes it super simple every month. Their editors hand select 5 to 7 titles of the best new fiction in a short list that you can pick from to be delivered straight to your door. With Book of the Month, I can opt for my favorite genres, or I can go to something outside of my comfort zone, knowing that the Book of the Month selections are always top tier. This month, I chose to stay within my favorite genre, mystery and thriller, and got 2 books that are brand new this month. The first one is called Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. In this book, the plot is that a woman lies about being a nurse, and she ends up being a nurse and a caretaker for a very wealthy family where she discovers that the family has a lot of secrets. And the second book that I chose is called Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. The main characters are on a remote island not too far from Antarctica. A mysterious woman washes up on shore and a lot of stuff unfolds. I love how all of the Book of the Month books are hardcover. It's just really high quality, a great value for the price. So if you're interested in joining Book of the Month, head to bookofthemonth.com and select your book today. You can use the code CLOVER to get your first book for $9.99, which is a great value on the hardcover book that they'll send you. Thank you, Book of the Month, for sponsoring today's video, and now let's get into the knitting patterns. So the first category of patterns is lightweight sweaters. If you're like me and living in a colder climate, spring is still very much a great season for long sleeve wool garments, but I've selected some sweaters that have a bit of lightness to them, and for all of these I would suggest going for a single strand of wool or something with cotton or a lighter weight fiber in it. I probably wouldn't opt for something with mohair and maybe leave out things like double folded collars. So the first example is the Acorn Pullover by Sari Nordland. I love this pattern. It's a drop shoulder all over lace sweater intended to be worn with 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. Now this is a DK weight sweater, and Sari Nordland recommends a single strand of fingering weight wool held with a lace weight silk mohair, as you can see in her sample, but this pattern would really shine with just a single strand of DK weight yarn. I feel like the lace pattern gives it a bit of lightness. Of course, all those eyelets may not be too insulating, which might be good as the weather gets a little bit warmer, and if I were to knit this for the spring season, I would go for a single layered collar, kind of similar to my t-shirt here, rather than the folded collar that Sari Nordland has in her sample. Sari does write that this pattern is very suitable for beginner lace knitters, although the pattern does look a bit overwhelming. It is a very simple pattern to follow and memorize. The next pattern I have on the list is the Clematis Sweater by Emma Mayer. The sweater is really unique. It has a very dramatic asymmetrical detail down the front of the sweater, which I think sets it apart from a lot of designs. It's knit at a DK weight gauge. The recommended yarn is a fingering weight held with a lace weight silk mohair, but of course, like I said before, sub in a single strand of DK and you will be good to go for the spring. I love just how simple this is, yet elegant. I think this pattern really shines with the very small and shallow 1x1 ribbing details that go throughout the whole sweater. I think this would look great in a neutral color or a pop of your favorite color for spring. The Market Henley by Claire Jackson I think is a great lightweight sweater to knit up for the spring. I love the all over waffle stitch texture, and the little Henley detail is very reminiscent of early 2000s Henleys that if you are a late 90s baby like I am, you will know quite well. I love the modern take on the waffle Henley in this pattern. It's recommended to be worn with 4 to 8 inches of positive ease, and because it's knit out of fingering weight yarn, I just feel like it would be something not too heavy but still has a little bit of squish and will probably be really fun to knit with that waffle stitch texture. This is a drop shoulder shoulder design. I feel like it would look great in a solid or slightly tonal color, or if you have a variegated yarn that you've been dying to use in a sweater, I think this would knit up great in the waffle stitch as well. Of course, you'll lose a little bit of that pattern definition if using a variegated yarn, but I think it will still look really great. As the winter is coming to an end and you're wrapping up your winter knits, you probably have a lot of leftover scrap yarn, which I think would be a great reason to cast on the Stripe Hype sweater by Veronica Lindberg. The Stripe Hype sweater is a DK weight drop shoulder sweater that features up to 5 contrasting colors that I think is a really cool way to use up leftover yarn or just be really creative with a color combination like Veronica did in her sample. This is meant to be worn with 8 to 12 inches of positive ease, and I feel like it would be really addictive to knit with all of those stripes and just wanting to get to the next stripe or the next color. There are over 1,000 projects of this sweater on Ravelry, so if you're looking for some color inspiration, definitely head to the project page to see what other people have knit up. And the last lightweight sweater that I'll share in this pattern roundup is the Traveler by Andrea Mowry. I'm actually in the middle of knitting a Traveler for myself right now. The sweater has the option to be knit with a hood to be like a sweatshirt, or you can opt for a crew neckline to keep it more of a sweater. This is knit at a sport weight gauge, so I think it's the perfect weight for a spring knit. I've really been enjoying mine, so speaking from personal experience, this stitch pattern is really fun to knit up and the construction is really engaging as well. Meant to be worn with 6 to 10 inches of positive ease, this is a drop shoulder design that just looks super cozy and a great loungewear piece, or you can choose to go for the crew neck version, which I think looks a little bit more polished and would be a great sweater to add to your spring outfits. The 2 recommended yarns for this pattern are Farmer's Daughter Fibers Recollect Sport or Ritual Dye Sprite. I've been knitting mine out of Knit Picks High Desert Sport, which I think has been a great yarn to use for the project. I have 2 cardigans to share in today's roundup, and the first is called Palmyre by Audrey Borrego. This is a beautiful, delicate, airy, lightweight cardigan that features lace down the front as well as the back. I really love the style of this cardigan. You can see in the sample it's worn a little bit cropped, and wearing a contrasting color like plain t-shirt underneath really shows off the lace eyelets really well. This cardigan is knit at a sport weight gauge. The recommended yarn is a light fingering weight held with a silk mohair, and this might be the only pattern I recommend in today's video to go for the silk mohair, even though it's for spring. I just feel like it really adds to the delicate style and really matches the lace pattern well. Another interesting thing about this pattern is that it's knit side to side, so a pretty different construction that could be really fun to knit up this season. This pattern is meant to be worn with 6 to 7 3/4 inches of positive ease, and this is actually a free pattern on Ravelry, so if you don't have it already, go ahead and download it now. And the second cardigan I have to share today, I think I've included in some spring inspo videos before, but it's returning again, and that's the Ballerina Wrap Top by Alexandra Tavel. This is such a fun cardigan pattern, knit top down with raglan shaping and all over stockinette. It's knit at a DK weight gauge and comes in both a short sleeve and a long sleeve version. The short sleeve version is actually free on Two of Wands blog, or you can purchase the paid pattern that includes directions for the long sleeves as well. I feel like this cardigan would be great as a standalone outfit piece and also would look great with dresses, which is something that I was considering when looking up patterns for today, things that would go well with skirts and dresses as we lean into the warmer months. I think this would be great as it has that cropped fit, it ties off at the waist, and you can opt for a more neutral color so it matches a lot of things you might already have in your wardrobe, or go for your favorite color, have it be kind of like a statement piece in your knit wardrobe. This is intended to be worn with negative ease. The suggested negative ease is 0 to 2 inches, so a little bit tighter fitting of a garment, but I really think it looks great worn in that style as seen in the sample photos here. The next category is vests or slipovers. The term is kind of used interchangeably in the knitting world, and I love vests and slipovers for the spring. I love how they can be worn with a long sleeve shirt underneath. If it's still cold, they can be worn with t-shirts underneath and still look super cute, or you can layer them over dresses and skirts. The outfit possibilities are endless. So I gathered a few different vest patterns that I'm loving this season. The first one is called Aegis by Mary Weaver. This was a pattern released in conjunction with Brooklyn Tweed, so the recommended yarns are Brooklyn Tweed Shelter or Brooklyn Tweed Tones, both of which are worsted weight yarns. I love how this slipover has the ties at the waist. I feel like it's such a classy look. It adds a little bit of detail that you otherwise might not get from a plain stockinette vest. This also features great details of shaker rib on the shoulders. I just really love the styling of this piece. It looks like there are options to go for either a buttoned side closure or keep it tied with the bows. If I were to knit this myself, I would go with the bows, and I would probably knit this a little bit shorter to give it more of a cropped fit. I really like how it's layered here with the button-down shirt, also something that would look great over a dress or with a skirt. So this to me is a great spring vest pick. Now if you're looking for something classy and elegant for this spring, I would recommend the Maggie vest by Petite Knit. This vest is such a classic design. It's so tailored looking. I love the detail of the buttons down the front center. This is a DK weight knit, and the recommended yarns are 100% cashmere yarns like Cardiff Cashmere or Lang Yarns Cashmere Premium. If cashmere is in your budget, go for it. That seems like a great way to use up such a luxury yarn, but this would also look fantastic in a DK weight merino like Santa's Garn Double Sunday, or knitting for olive merino held double would also work well for this project. This vest is meant to be worn with 2 inches of positive ease, which I feel like is a great amount for just a neutral fitting garment. Now Petite Knit has it styled as a standalone top here, but I would definitely wear this with long sleeve t-shirts underneath through the colder months of spring, and as it starts to get warm, I love how you can sort of take this into early summer and style it here kind of as a tank top. Really classy if you're into that Scandi style knitwear. Now if you kind of like the look of the Maggie vest but want something just a little bit more unique, I will recommend the Clematis vest, also by Emma Mayer. Of course, this is a sister pattern to the Clematis sweater, having the same asymmetrical detail down the front of the vest. Now, for all the same reasons that I love the Clematis sweater, the Clematis vest I feel like it's just a really classy, unique pick for spring. The recommended yarn is Belmonte by Rosario's 4, which is a 50% cotton, 50% wool blend. This is a DK weight pattern, so you could go for some warmer weather fibers like knitting for olive cotton merino held double, or if you need to, you could definitely opt for something woollier. Now, if you're just looking for a vanilla stockinette vest for the spring, I will recommend the All Season vest. This is a pattern by Noriko Ichikawa, and I love the look of this vest. There's not much to it, but I am someone who just loves well-constructed stockinette pieces. This is a shallow v-neck with 1x1 rib details, and it's knit at a worsted weight gauge, and the recommended yarn is Woolfolk Straw, which is a 50% blend of wool and 50% blend of linen, which sounds like a really interesting combo to knit with. I'm trying to think if I've knit with anything similar. I don't know. Definitely something that would be great for the spring and the warmer months. This vest is meant to be worn with 5 to 8 inches of positive ease, but certainly could be customizable depending on the look you're going for. I love how the photos show this vest at both a longer length and a more cropped length. For me, I would go with the more cropped length. Like I said before, would go great with dresses and skirts, but seems like a lot of versatility with this top-down knit vest, and with something stockinette, you can't really go wrong. Moving into t-shirts, which I feel like is the bread and butter of knits for the spring. I'm actually wearing one of my favorite knit t-shirts, which is the Poppy Tee by Petite Knit. This technically wasn't on the list, but I'll share it anyway. I knit this out of Kilbourne Woolens Mojave, which is a blend of linen and cotton in the color Electric Blue. One pattern that I thought really fit the criteria for spring knits was Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. Now, when I think of spring, I think of flowers, and this is just a great application of color work onto a t-shirt that really showcases a color changing yarn like Spin Cycle dyed in the wool. Also featured on this t-shirt is a lace and sort of scalloped neckline, which I feel like is really pretty, really unique, and definitely encompasses kind of like the lightness and the airiness of spring. This is a fingering weight knit, and the main yarn that they used in this pattern is Moondrake Co. Pika Pika, which is a blend of wool, silk, and cellulose. So that's a very kind of lightweight warmer weather fiber. I think you can easily use a fingering weight wool if that's what you have in stash, and really play with the color combos of this t-shirt. There are examples of it with solid yarns as well, and I think this pattern looks just as good with 2 solids. This t-shirt is knit top down. It features a circular yoke construction and is meant to be worn with 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. One tee pattern by Sorry Norland that I love for spring this year is the Ballard tee. This is a DK weight t-shirt that's knit top down and features drop shoulder construction, and what I love the most about this pattern are the cables. They're very wide and infrequent cables that create a really elegant design that I feel like complements so well with the wide stretches of stockinette that surround those cable columns. Sorry knit her sample out of We Are Knitters the Cotton, which would have great stitch definition for those cables. Some other yarn recommendations for this pattern are Santa's Garn Lena, which is a blend of cotton, linen, and viscose, or Knit Picks Cotlin. It looks like a few people use that yarn for their project here, and that is a blend of cotton and linen. This t-shirt pattern is meant to be worn with 6 to 8 inches of positive ease, and if you're just looking for a t-shirt pattern this spring that has some interest but isn't too busy or complex, I think the Ballard tee is a great pick. Now, if you are just looking for a plain stockinette t-shirt, look no further than the Feels Right tee by Lily Kate France. This t-shirt pattern is very reminiscent of tighter fitting baby tees with a set-in sleeve cap. This is a fingering weight t-shirt pattern, and the recommended yarn is Rico Designs Essentials Cotton, which is a 100% cotton fingering weight yarn. It's meant to be worn with 2 to 4 inches of positive ease, and I think is a great canvas for just a staple t-shirt if you're looking for a knitted tee to add to your wardrobe. Lily Kate France is known for her really intentional shaping details in her pieces, and this looks like no exception. It looks like the sleeves are really expertly detailed, as well as including some waist shaping to create the perfect fitting t-shirt. So if you're looking for the knitted version of your favorite cotton t-shirt, I think this is a great pick. And the last t-shirt I'll share today is the Anchor Summer Shirt by Petite Knit. I actually knit this for myself as one of my really early on knitting projects, so it's very beginner friendly, as it's a top-down t-shirt knit in a circular yoke construction that features some ribbing details and then has stockinette in the body. This t-shirt is meant to be worn with 0 to 2 inches of positive ease, and the recommended yarn is Sandusgarn Lena. And I just love wearing my Anchor Summer shirt all the time. I feel like it really fits in nicely with the spring season, as the Lena creates kind of like a thicker, warmer weather fabric that is great for transitional months. And I feel like the shaping and the design of this t-shirt just looks really good. I really like wearing it tucked in with some shorts or jeans, and it just adds a little bit of visual interest to an otherwise plain stockinette t-shirt. So my last category includes 2 patterns that I couldn't not have in the video, but they didn't really fit into the other categories. And the first is an accessory called the Versailles scarf, and it's a pattern by Juliette Pecot. This is a really great accessory if you're looking to jazz up your outfit, either wearing it as a headband or a neck scarf. And I actually test knitted this pattern, and it was a really fun design to knit. It is all over lace, and it's actually knit from side to side, so you cast on a lot of stitches and then follow the stitch chart for just a few rows to create that shape of the scarf. This is a fingering weight knit. The suggested yarn is Knit Picks Gloss Fingering, which is a blend of silk and merino. A great fiber combo for the warmer months. I ended up knitting mine with 1 strand of Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, which is a 100% silk yarn. There are 2 size options in this pattern, so if you want to go for a longer scarf like the one that I knit, you can go for the size L, or you can go for a shorter length scarf if you're looking for something that is a short little tie, maybe for a headband or just a single tie around the neck. And the last pattern is a fun one, and it's actually a pair of shorts, which I don't normally dabble in knitting bottoms for myself, but if I were to knit a pair of bottoms, it would be these. These Perfect Knit shorts by Originally Lovely, I feel like look like the perfect lounging short for the spring and into the summer as well. These shorts are knit at a DK weight gauge, and the suggested yarn is Originally Lovely Pima, which is a 100% Pima cotton yarn, which just sounds so comfortable to wear. They feature a dolphin hem and include an elasticized waistband, so you do knit the shorts, but you have to add in an elastic waistband, which I'm sure helps immensely with the structural integrity of these shorts. This pattern comes in 9 sizes, and sizing is based off of both your upper hip measurement and lower hip measurement. All of those details are outlined in the pattern description if you're curious to see how to pick your size for a pair of knit shorts. And sort of as a fun add-on to this pattern, you can also knit Originally Lovely's Perfect Knit t-shirt pattern in the same yarn, in the same color, for a super cute 100% cotton knit lounge set. The Perfect Knit t-shirt is also a DK weight t-shirt that features raglan shaping and a shallow scoop neckline. The t-shirt pattern is available for free on Originally Lovely's blog, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. And that brings us to the end of the pattern roundup. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you were able to get some inspiration for your spring knitting. If you're looking for more inspiration, feel free to check out my other spring knitting videos from years prior. I will link them down below, and I'll also link a Ravelry bundle where you can find all these patterns together in one place. And if you're curious what I'll be knitting for myself this spring, feel free to subscribe so that way you can keep up to date with all of my latest videos. I'll be posting a spring knitting plans video not too long from now. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye.